Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us on this Friday. I'm Asia Gore. Disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein arrested today in New York City and officially charged with rape and criminal sex acts. CBS's John Schumo has the details.
Fallen media mogul Harvey Weinstein carried books as he walked into a New York City police precinct to turn himself in this morning. After being arrested, fingerprinted and photographed, Weinstein walked out a short time later wearing handcuffs. He was whisked to the courthouse where he was charged with first and third degree rape and forcible sex acts involving two separate women in 2013 and 2004.
This is kind of the first time he's facing the same justice system as the rest of us.
More than 80 women have accused Weinstein of sexual harassment, misconduct, and even rape. Most cases remained out of the public eye after he quietly made financial arrangements with the victims.
This defendant used his position, money, and power to lure young women into situations where he was able to violate them sexually.
Weinstein's arrest follows months of investigation by the district attorney's office and a grand jury that interviewed hundreds of witnesses.
They were not going to go forward with any of these cases, no matter how the rest of us may have felt, until they felt they were ready, and they're ready now.
Weinstein has repeatedly denied any allegations of non-consensual sex. His attorney entered a not guilty plea.
Bad behavior is not on trial in this case. It's only if you intentionally committed a criminal act, and Mr. Weinstein vigorously denies that.
Weinstein was released on $1 million bail. The court ordered him to wear a GPS monitoring device. He surrendered his passport and is not allowed to go beyond the states of New York and Connecticut. John Schumo, CBS News, New York.
And Weinstein is due back in court July 30th. Here in Montana, a former Eastern Montana teacher is accused of sexually assaulting a female student on numerous occasions in 2012. 38-year-old Richard Adsett Jr. faces 5 felony charges in Judith Basin County. Court documents state Adsett sexually abused a 15-year-old girl over a period of 4 months. The alleged crimes took place in Adsett's classroom and at his home in Geyser, Montana. Adsett was also a teacher and coach at high schools in Reed Point, Sidney, Geyser, and Savage. He is currently a teacher in Pennsylvania. A Powell man will spend up to 20 years in prison for the murder of his wife. 64-year-old David Williamson was sentenced Thursday in Wyoming's Park County District Court to 18 to 20 years in prison. Williamson claimed he shot his wife Shirley last August to end her mental illness. He said his wife was hearing voices and having a mental breakdown, but the victim told her son if she were to die, Williamson was to blame. A former Missoula County Sheriff's deputy is under investigation for alleged excessive use of force. The investigation involves an incident in November between ex-deputy Douglas Hartzell and a male suspect. Other deputies contacted the sheriff with concerns about Hartzell's use of force with the suspect. The sheriff has unsuccessfully attempted to reach the man involved. The Montana Division of Criminal Investigation is looking into the matter. A missing and endangered person alert issued for an elderly man who went missing in Shelby last night. The Montana Department of Justice says 87-year-old Malcolm McAlpine walked away from his care facility. McAlpine is 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighs 166 pounds, and has blue eyes and white hair. He has dementia and does not have the medication with him that he requires. McAlpine wears glasses and was last seen wearing a plaid shirt and brown pants. He may have been picked up by an unknown party and could possibly be trying to get to Conrad. Anyone with information should contact authorities. A home in Ravalli County is a total loss after becoming fully engulfed in flames. Crews were called Thursday to a home on Bailey Lane west of Corvallis after neighbors reported seeing flames. Investigators believe the fire was sparked by a generator. The fire moved across the lawn and jumped into a nearby yard, but it was controlled before it spread to any other homes. No one was injured. Yellowstone County bracing for a flooding emergency. If the heavy rain forecasted for Sunday materializes, both the Clarks Fork and the Yellowstone rivers could hit record levels by Memorial Day. This is video taken Thursday near Colson Park in South Billings. The boat ramp area is now covered by several feet of water. Authorities warn the record high flows could result in bank erosion, channel migration, and possible road and bridge closures. Yellowstone County residents should expect flooding on numerous small streams, including Canyon Creek, Blue Creek, Alkali Creek, and Pryor Creek. And on that note, we turn now to the weather scene with Ed McIntosh for a breakdown of our weekend. Ed.
That's right. We got a lot of things going on, Asia. And of course, we're going to start off with already the warm temperatures and the sunshine we've been seeing. And those temperatures will continue to break down as we get later in the week. But be mindful, we're not used to the sun and the heat. And this is very early in the season. And these temperatures are exceedingly warm for this early in the year. Then the rain and the thunderstorms come. And that could mean areas with dangerous lightning, hail, and wind possible. Plus, just keep it in mind when you're making your weekend plans. Starting off sunny, warm, and dry, and suddenly the thunderstorms start to move in. And then the flooding potential that Asia was talking about, with a lot of the rivers and streams region-wide running very high and fast, and the banks are unstable, so be careful when you're close to the water. More on the weekend weather coming up.
Thanks, Ed. We'll check back in. Bison from Yellowstone National Park may soon be headed to eastern Montana. The superintendent of Yellowstone National Park expects to ship bison to the Fort Peck Reservation before the end of the year. Those animals will be used to add to a purebred herd on tribal land. But the bison sharing program did go through some challenging times this past winter. Protesters cut fences at the holding facility in Stevens Creek and released some of the animals. There are now 70 male and 25 female bison being tested and retested to make sure they aren't diseased. Residents along the Montana High Line are protesting the planned closure of the Amtrak ticket station in Havre. Locations in Shelby and Havre plan to de-staff by June. The Amtrak Director of Government Affairs told attendees that nationwide, around 94% of passengers purchase tickets online or via app. Shelby and Havre are among the 18 stations across the country that saw less than 40 passengers each day. One of the two employees at the Havre station said in her experience, most customers pay cash at the station for a ticket. City officials and Havre residents hope they can extend the closure date until they can get some answers from Amtrak. The controversial Keystone XL pipeline project was back in front of a judge Thursday morning. The pipeline is proposed to run from Alberta to Nebraska through eastern Montana. The environmentalists and Native Americans suing argue that the government is using outdated environmental impact statements from 2014 for the development of the pipeline. The plaintiffs also claim the government rushed to get a permit for the route through Nebraska without doing an evaluation because President Trump set a 60-day filing deadline. Plaintiffs say there are climate issues that violate the National Environmental Policy Act. The judge will make a decision at a later date. Flathead Valley residents armed with ukuleles rally over the proposed Creston water bottling plant. Commissioners heard public concerns about the Egan Slough initiative aimed at expanding the Egan Slough district to businesses like Creston Water. The hearing was court-ordered in March when the judge ruled that commissioners abused their discretion when they ignored public testimony in favor of the zoning amendment that could have blocked Montana Artesian in 2016. Protesters say the plan infringes on the property rights of 2,000 residents. The hearing did not end with a decision. Still ahead on the Noon News, a bystander praised for stopping a shooter in Oklahoma. We have the details from that restaurant next. But first, Ed has our weather forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching MTN News with Asia Gore. Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and farm and ranch news from the Northern Ag Network. This is the Noon News on Q2, Montana's news leader.